Lieutenant Anna Martinez rubbed her tired eyes as she stared at the blinking lights on her communication console. The quiet hum of Earth's Space Defense Force monitoring station had been her only companion for the past 8 hours. She reached for her coffee cup, only to find it empty. Just as she was about to get up for a refill, an unusual signal caught her attention. "That's weird," she muttered, adjusting her headset. The signal wasn't like anything she'd seen before. It wasn't the usual space noise or satellite chatter. It had a pattern, a deliberate rhythm that made her heart beat faster. She pressed the emergency alert button, and within minutes, the quiet station turned into a hub of activity. Chief Engineer Peter Kelly rushed in, his gray hair messy and his uniform wrinkled, as if he'd been sleeping in the break room again. "What have we got?" he asked, leaning over her shoulder to look at the readings. "Something big," Anna replied, her fingers flying over the keyboard. "The signal's getting stronger. It's like nothing in our database." The main screen suddenly flickered to life, showing a strange geometric pattern. Then, to everyone's shock, it transformed into a face, or at least something that looked like a face. The being had purple-tinted scales and multiple eyes arranged in a circular pattern. "People of Earth," the alien spoke in perfect English, its voice deep and mechanical. "I am High Commander Zextol of the Galactic Council. Your primitive world has been monitored for the past 50 of your Earth years. The time has come for your integration into our civilization." The room fell silent. Anna and Peter exchanged worried glances as the alien continued. "Your species has shown remarkable progress, yet remains dangerously unstable. The Council has voted. You will submit to our guidance or face immediate military action. You have 30 of your Earth days to comply." Commander Jack Norman burst into the room just as the transmission ended. His face was stern, but his eyes showed concern. "Tell me you recorded that," he said. "Every second." Anna confirmed, already running analysis programs on the signal. "Sir," Peter spoke up, his hand shaking slightly as he looked at his tablet. "We're detecting multiple objects entering the solar system. They just appeared out of nowhere. Massive ships, bigger than anything we've ever built." The next few hours were chaos. As news of the alien ultimatum spread, the world's governments scrambled to respond. The Space Defense Force headquarters became the center of Earth's response planning, with military leaders and scientists from around the world pouring in. Anna worked tirelessly, analyzing the alien transmission for any clues about their technology. Peter disappeared into his workshop, muttering about shield frequencies and power systems. Commander Norman coordinated with military leaders worldwide, preparing for what might come. 3 days after the initial contact, Peter burst into the command center, his eyes wild with excitement. "I've got something," he announced, spreading blueprints across the main table. "They think we're primitive, right? Well, that's going to be their biggest mistake." He pointed to his designs, a seemingly simple shield system that used Earth's outdated radio waves and magnetic fields. "Their tech is too advanced, too complicated. They've forgotten the basics. We can use that against them." Commander Norman studied the plans. "Will it work?" "Theory says yes," Peter replied. "Their quantum communications, their fancy shields, they're all built on principles that ignore simple electromagnetic interference. It's like they've evolved past the point of considering basic physics a threat." Anna jumped in, pulling up her signal analysis. "He's right, sir. Their transmission technology is incredibly advanced, but it's also incredibly complex. They're using quantum entanglement for everything, even simple communications, but that makes them vulnerable to basic disruption." The commander nodded slowly. "They expect us to try matching their technology level. They're waiting for us to fail at copying their advanced systems." "Exactly," Peter said with a grin. "But we're not going to play their game. We're going to go low-tech. Really low-tech." Over the next 2 weeks, Earth prepared, but not in the way the Galactic Council expected. While the alien ships hovered at the edge of the solar system, Humans worked on weapons and defenses that would have looked primitive to the Council's advanced sensors. Peter's team converted old radio telescopes into shield generators. Anna discovered that simple Morse code could slip through the Council's quantum communication jammers. Around the world, scientists and engineers dug up old technologies, finding ways to use their simplicity as an advantage. Commander Norman organized a covert operation to gather more intelligence. Using ships deliberately designed to look primitive, Earth's forces began probing the Council's defenses. The aliens barely paid attention to these primitive vessels, not realizing they were collecting crucial data about the Council's weaknesses. 25 days after the ultimatum, the Council sent another message. The same scaled face appeared on screens worldwide. "Your time grows short," High Commander Zextal announced. "We observe no meaningful preparation for integration. Your primitive attempts at defense are noted and dismissed. Submit or face the consequences of your defiance." In the Space Defense Force Command Center, Commander Norman stood before his staff. "They think we're primitive," he said, his voice firm. "They think we're helpless. But humanity has something they've forgotten: the ability to innovate, to use whatever tools we have at hand." He looked at each person in the room. "We have 5 days until their deadline. 5 days to finish our preparations. They expect us to beg for mercy. Instead, we're going to show them why it's dangerous to underestimate humans." Anna looked at her modified communication console, now equipped with both advanced computers and a simple telegraph key. Peter checked the readings on his hybrid shield system, a combination of quantum physics and basic radio waves. Around them, humans prepared for war using everything from cutting-edge technology to repurposed kitchen appliances. The Galactic Council had made a crucial mistake. They had dismissed humanity as primitive, never considering that sometimes the simplest solutions were the most effective. In 5 days, they would learn their error. In 5 days, humanity would show the galaxy that innovation wasn't about having the most advanced technology. It was about using whatever you had in the most creative way possible. The war was about to begin, and humanity's greatest weapon would be its ability to think differently, to find solutions in the most unexpected places. The Council thought they were facing primitives. They were about to face something far more dangerous: humans who had nothing to lose and everything to prove. The emergency meeting room of the United Nations was packed with world leaders, military commanders, and scientists. The air felt heavy with tension as Dr. Lisa Bennett walked to the podium, carrying what looked like an ordinary microwave oven. Some people in the audience exchanged confused glances, but she remained confident. "Ladies and gentlemen," she began, placing the appliance on the table. "What you're looking at might seem like a simple kitchen device, but with some modifications, it's now capable of disrupting alien shield frequencies." She paused, letting that sink in. "And this is just the beginning." The room erupted in murmurs. Major Steve Collins leaned forward in his seat, his military training making him skeptical yet interested. He had spent the last weeks studying ancient guerrilla warfare tactics, looking for ways to adapt them to space combat. "Dr. Bennett," he called out, "are you saying we can turn household items into weapons against their advanced technology?" Lisa smiled, her eyes bright with excitement. "Exactly, Major. The Council's ships use quantum shielding that's incredibly advanced. So advanced that it completely ignores what they consider primitive energy frequencies. Their shields are designed to stop plasma weapons and laser fire, not focused microwave radiation." The presentation continued as Lisa demonstrated how her team had modified various everyday devices. A washing machine motor became the basis for a gravity disruptor. An old television antenna, rewired with simple electronics, could scramble alien targeting systems. Each example showed how human ingenuity could turn the ordinary into the extraordinary. Meanwhile, in a secret facility beneath the Rocky Mountains, engineer Daniel Harrison was leading a different kind of innovation. His team had captured a small piece of alien technology from a reconnaissance probe. Instead of trying to understand its advanced components, they were doing something the aliens never expected. They were making it simpler. "Look at this," Daniel said to his team, pointing to the alien device. They'd got 15 quantum processors just to control basic movement. We can replace all of that with a single Arduino board. His team had discovered that the aliens had over-engineered their technology to the point of vulnerability. Across the globe, humanity united in an unprecedented way. Countries shared their resources and knowledge freely. Russian scientists worked alongside American engineers. Chinese factories collaborated with European designers. The common threat had erased old rivalries. At the Space Defense Force headquarters, Anna Martinez made another breakthrough. She rushed into Commander Norman's office, clutching a tablet. "Sir, we've cracked their communication pattern," she exclaimed. "They're so focused on quantum encryption that they completely ignore basic radio frequencies. We can use simple Morse code to communicate without them even noticing." Commander Norman quickly called Peter Kelly to join them. The chief engineer had been working nonstop on adapting Earth's defense systems. "How's the SHIELD project coming?" Norman asked as Peter entered the office. Peter grinned, looking tired but satisfied. "Better than we hoped. We got old radio towers serving as SHIELD generators all across the globe. The alien scans show them as simple communication devices. They don't realize we're building a planetary defense network right under their noses." Major Collins joined the meeting, bringing his own report. "My team has adapted old military tactics for space warfare," he explained. "The Viet Cong used tunnel networks to evade American forces. We're using the same principle with asteroid fields to hide our ships. The aliens won't expect us to use such primitive strategies." In orbit, construction crews worked tirelessly to modify civilian satellites. Under Lisa Bennett's guidance, they turned weather satellites into early warning systems and communication relays into weapon platforms. The aliens observed this activity, but dismissed it as primitive attempts at defense. 20 days into the preparation, Earth received another transmission from the Council. This time, a different alien appeared, one with blue scales and a more diplomatic manner. "Humans," it began, "we observe your efforts to resist. Your dedication is admirable, but misguided. Accept our guidance, and we will share our advanced technology with you. Continue this path, and you will face our military might." The transmission ended, but this time, Earth's response was different. Using Anna's modified communication system, they sent back a simple message in Morse code. 3 dots, 3 dashes, 3 dots. The universal distress signal, SOS, but carrying a hidden meaning that the aliens couldn't understand. In his workshop, Daniel Harrison decoded the message and smiled. It was time to begin the next phase. His team started mass-producing their simplified versions of alien technology. They weren't trying to match the Council's advanced tech. They were deliberately making it more basic, more reliable, and much harder to detect. Lisa Bennett's weaponized household items were distributed globally. Major Collins trained military units in his adapted guerrilla tactics. Peter Kelly's SHIELD network grew stronger each day, hiding behind the appearance of ordinary radio communications. "They still think we're just scrambling to catch up to their level," Commander Norman told his staff during a briefing. "But we're not trying to match their technology. We're going back to basics, using principles they've forgotten about." The Council's deadline was approaching fast, but Earth was ready in ways the aliens couldn't imagine. Humanity had taken what the Council saw as weaknesses, their primitive technology and simple solutions, and turned them into strengths. In orbit, the first wave of modified civilian ships took position, looking harmless to alien scans. On the ground, millions of converted household devices waited to be activated. In secret bases worldwide, soldiers trained in ancient combat techniques adapted for space warfare. The aliens had given Earth 30 days to submit. Instead, humanity had used that time to prepare a response that would shock the Galactic Council. They weren't just ready to fight. They were ready to show the galaxy that sometimes the simplest solutions were the most effective. As the deadline drew near, Commander Norman gathered his senior staff for one final meeting. "The Council thinks they're facing a primitive species trying to play catch-up," he said, looking at each person in the room. "Instead, they're about to face humanity at its most creative and determined. We've turned our primitive technology into our greatest advantage." Anna Martinez, monitoring the alien fleet's movements, noticed they were beginning to shift position. The Council's deadline was almost up, and they were preparing for what they thought would be a simple subjugation mission. They had no idea that Earth's response would change the galaxy's understanding of warfare forever. Humanity was about to teach the Council a lesson about the danger of underestimating primitive species and the power of human innovation. The Council's deadline passed at midnight Greenwich Mean Time. Captain Susan Wright stood on the bridge of her ship, a converted cargo vessel that now bristled with hidden weapons. To alien sensors, it looked like nothing more than a primitive transport hauling mining equipment. "All stations, report," she ordered, her voice calm despite the tension. "Engineering ready," came the response from below decks, where modified microwave emitters hummed softly. "All household appliances are charged and ready to fire." In orbit around Earth, 50 similar vessels waited, each looking harmless to the advanced alien scanners. The Council's massive warships approached with confidence, their quantum shields glowing with purple energy. High Commander Zextal's voice boomed across all frequencies. "Your time has expired. Prepare for integration into the Galactic Council." The alien ships moved forward, their weapons charging. They expected Earth's surrender. Instead, they got Morse code, short bursts of radio waves that they didn't even bother to block, dots and dashes that carried Captain Wright's order to all Earth ships: "Begin Operation Microwave." On her command, thousands of modified kitchen devices activated simultaneously. Microwave radiation, concentrated and focused through salvaged satellite dishes, poured forth from the Earth ships. The Council's sensors didn't even register it as a threat until their shield frequencies began to fluctuate. "Status report," Zextal demanded from his flagship, as warning lights flashed across his command console. "High Commander," his science officer replied, confusion evident in his voice. "Their primitive energy emissions they're interfering with our quantum shield matrix." "But that's impossible." In her workshop back on Earth, Dr. Lisa Bennett watched the battle through modified telescope arrays. "It's working," she exclaimed, as the alien shields flickered under the assault of focused microwave radiation. They never thought to shield against such basic energy forms. Captain Wright's voice crackled through the simple radio network that Anna Martinez had set up. "All ships, begin Phase 2. Deploy the modified washing machine motors." Daniel Harrison's simplified versions of alien technology came into play. The washing machine motors, rewired to create gravitational disturbances, spun up to full power. The aliens' advanced sensors couldn't make sense of the crude but effective devices. "What is this?" Zextal roared as his ships began to drift off course. "Their primitive technology cannot affect our advanced systems." But it was affecting them. The simple disruptions created by Earth's repurposed household items were playing havoc with the over-engineered alien systems. Their quantum computers, trying to compensate for what they saw as impossible interference, began to overload. Major Steve Collins, commanding Earth's fighter squadron, saw their chance. "All wings, execute guerrilla pattern Alpha." His fighters, hidden within the asteroid belt, powered up their engines. They were old passenger jets modified for spaceflight, equipped with the simplest weapons possible, refined versions of World War II flak cannons. The Council ships, their shields weakened by microwave radiation and their navigation disrupted by washing machine motors, never saw the attack coming. Simple metal projectiles, fired from mechanical guns, tore through their fluctuating defenses. "Impossible." Zextal slammed his fist on his command console. "They're using solid projectiles, physical ammunition. No civilized species has used such weapons in 10,000 years." Commander Norman's voice came over the Earth frequencies. Remember your training. Keep it simple. Keep it basic. They'd forgotten how to defend against the basics. Peter Kelly's modified radio towers created a web of interference that the alien quantum communications couldn't penetrate. The Council ships, unable to coordinate their actions, began to fight as individual units, exactly as Earth had planned. Target their communication arrays, Captain Wright ordered. Use the TV antenna disruptors. Old television antennas, modified to broadcast on frequencies the aliens had long since abandoned, sent out waves of signal interference. The Council's sophisticated communication networks, designed to resist quantum hacking, had no defense against simple broadcast static. 3 hours into the battle, the first Council ship fell. Its quantum engines, confused by primitive electromagnetic interference, shut down. Its communications, blocked by simple radio waves, went dark. Its weapons, designed to fight other advanced civilizations, proved useless against retrofitted Earth technology. This is madness. Zextal watched in horror as 2 more of his ships succumbed to the humans' primitive weapons. How can they be defeating us with such basic technology? Anna Martinez, monitoring the battle from Earth, smiled as she sent another Morse code message to the fleet. The dots and dashes slipped through the Council's defenses like they weren't even there. Their quantum encryption, designed to stop advanced code breaking, was powerless against this centuries-old communication method. The battle turned decisively when Captain Wright unveiled humanity's secret weapon. Modified garbage disposal units turned into mass drivers. The simple machines hurled chunks of metal at the alien ships, their primitive nature making them invisible to advanced targeting systems until it was too late. Pull back. Zextal finally ordered, his mighty fleet retreating from Earth's primitive defenders. Full retreat. We must analyze how they're doing this. As the alien ships fled, humanity celebrated its first victory. In the Space Defense Force Command Center, Commander Norman addressed his staff. Today we proved that innovation isn't about having the most advanced technology. It's about using what you have in ways your enemy doesn't expect. Captain Wright brought her ship back to Earth orbit, the modified appliances still humming softly. Sometimes, she said to her crew, the old ways are the best ways. In her lab, Dr. Bennett was already working on new modifications to everyday items. They'll be back, she said to her team. And next time, we'll have even more surprises for them. The Council had lost 3 capital ships to what they considered primitive weapons. More importantly, they had lost their aura of invincibility. Humanity had proved that sometimes the simplest solutions were the most effective. As Earth prepared for the Council's inevitable return, word of the battle spread through the galaxy. Other species, long dominated by the Council's technological superiority, began to take notice. Perhaps there was something to be said for keeping things simple. The first battle was over, but the war was just beginning. Humanity had shown the galaxy that innovation wasn't about having the most advanced technology. It was about using whatever technology you had in the most creative way possible. The Council had learned a hard lesson about underestimating primitive species, and they wouldn't make the same mistake again. But Earth was ready. In workshops and laboratories across the planet, humans continued to find new ways to turn everyday items into weapons of war. The Council might have quantum computers and advanced AI, but humanity had something better: the ability to think differently, to find solutions in the most unexpected places. 2 weeks after Earth's first victory, Dr. Amy Patterson stood in her basement laboratory, surrounded by old computers and gaming consoles. Her eyes were fixed on a captured alien neural interface device. While other scientists tried to understand its advanced technology, she had a different idea. The more complex something is, she muttered, connecting the alien device to an old Nintendo console, the more ways it can break. Her team had discovered that the Council's neural interfaces couldn't handle simple binary code. It was too basic for their quantum systems to process properly. Lieutenant Frank Murphy walked into her lab, carrying a box of kitchen appliances. "Doctor, you might want to see this." he said, pulling out a burnt microwave. "We found something interesting during the last battle." Together, they examined the damaged microwave. During the fight, it had been hit by alien energy weapons, but instead of destroying it, the blast had somehow made it more powerful. The simple device had absorbed and redirected the complex energy beam. "This is perfect," Amy said, her eyes lighting up. "Their weapons are too advanced for their own good. They've forgotten the basic laws of physics." At the Space Defense Force headquarters, Commander Norman received troubling news. The Council was gathering a larger fleet, bringing ships from across their empire. Earth had won the first battle, but the real war was about to begin. "They won't underestimate us this time," he told his staff. "We need new innovations, new ways to use our simple technology." In orbit, Captain Wright's ships were being upgraded with what looked like junkyard parts. Old car batteries lined up next to sophisticated alien technology. Television antennas stuck out at odd angles. To any advanced civilization, Earth's fleet looked like floating garbage heaps. "Keep it messy," Peter Kelly instructed the maintenance crews. "The messier it looks, the less they'll understand what we're really doing." Dr. Patterson's work with simple computer code was showing amazing results. She discovered that sending Pac-Man graphics to alien computers caused their quantum processors to crash. The Council's AI systems, designed to handle complex quantum calculations, couldn't process the simple pixels. "It's like trying to use a supercomputer to run a calculator," she explained to Commander Norman. "Their systems are so advanced that they've lost the ability to handle basic operations." Lieutenant Murphy's microwave discovery led to a new weapon design. His team began collecting broken appliances, turning them into energy absorption shields. The Council's powerful weapons actually made these shields stronger, feeding energy back into Earth's simple defense systems. In her communications center, Anna Martinez intercepted Council transmissions. The aliens were arguing among themselves. Some wanted to destroy Earth completely, while others were curious about how humans had defeated their best ships with such primitive technology. "They're scared," she told Commander Norman. "Not of our weapons, but of the fact that they don't understand how we're beating them." Earth's scientists continued to find new ways to use old technology. They turned old radios into shield disruptors. Car engines became power sources for space fighters. Even children's toys were modified into sensor jammers. Nothing was too simple to be useful. Dr. Patterson made another breakthrough when she found that classic video game music disrupted alien neural networks. The simple 8-bit tunes caused their advanced communication systems to glitch and fail. Earth's ships began broadcasting Space Invaders theme music during battles. "It's not just about the technology," she explained to her team. "It's about thinking differently. They expect us to try to match their advancement. Instead, we're going backwards, using simpler solutions they've forgotten about." The Council sent another message to Earth, but this time it was different. The alien speaker seemed less confident, almost worried. "Your resistance is concerning," the message said. "Your use of primitive technology defies our understanding. The Council offers negotiation." Commander Norman's response was simple. He sent them a Pac-Man ghost image. The alien transmission cut off immediately as their quantum receivers tried and failed to process the basic pixels. Lieutenant Murphy's team found more ways to use broken appliances. They discovered that old microwave timers could disrupt alien targeting systems. Blenders modified with alien power sources could create localized gravity distortions. Even coffee makers were turned into emergency propulsion systems. "The simpler the better" became Earth's unofficial motto. Soldiers carried modified game controllers instead of complex alien weapons. Ships used mechanical switches instead of quantum controls. Earth's entire defense strategy was built on technology, so basic that the Council's advanced systems couldn't counter it. Dr. Patterson completed her masterpiece, a computer virus made from Pong code. When transmitted to Council ships, it forced their quantum computers to try playing the simple game. The advanced systems would freeze, caught in an endless loop of trying to process basic up and down movements. Sometimes, she said, watching as her virus shut down an alien cruiser, the best solution is the simplest one. The Council's next attack came with twice as many ships as before. But this time, Earth was ready. Captain Wright's fleet looked like orbital junkyards, but each piece of trash was a carefully modified weapon or defense system. The battle began with Earth broadcasting 8-bit music across all frequencies. Alien neural networks crashed as they tried to filter out the simple electronic tunes. Then came Murphy's modified microwaves, absorbing and redirecting enemy fire. Patterson's viruses spread through the Council's network, forcing quantum computers to play endless games of Pong and Pac-Man. "This is impossible," alien commanders shouted across their failing communications. "How can they defeat our advanced technology with these primitive devices?" But that was exactly what was happening. Earth's simple solutions were overwhelming the Council's complex systems. Car batteries absorbed quantum energy blasts. Television antennas scrambled targeting computers. Even the junk floating around Earth's ships served a purpose, confusing alien sensors with its random patterns. Commander Norman watched from headquarters as the Council fleet fell into chaos. Their sophisticated AI couldn't handle Earth's simple tactics. Their quantum shields failed against basic energy frequencies. Their advanced weapons were useless against ships protected by modified household appliances. "Keep innovating," he ordered his teams. "They'll adapt eventually, but we'll always have the advantage. We understand the basics they've forgotten." As the battle raged, Earth's victory proved one thing. Sometimes the most advanced solution isn't the best solution. Humanity's greatest strength wasn't its technology, but its ability to use simple tools in creative ways. The Council would return again, with new weapons and tactics. But Earth would be ready, with even more innovative uses for its primitive technology. The war was far from over, but humanity had found its edge. The power of simple solutions in a galaxy that had become too complex for its own good. Commander Laura Chen stood on the observation deck of Earth's new defense station, watching the largest Council fleet yet appear at the edge of the solar system. 3 months of battles had led to this moment. The Council had brought their entire armada, over 1,000 ships, for one final attempt to subdue Earth. "Are we ready?" she asked over the radio network Anna Martinez had built. "Engineering ready," Peter Kelly responded. "Every broken appliance and old machine on Earth has been turned into a weapon or shield. We're as ready as we'll ever be." The Council's diplomatic channel opened, showing the familiar scaled face of High Commander Zextal. He looked tired, his multiple eyes blinking rapidly. "This conflict must end," he announced. "Your primitive resistance has caused unprecedented damage to our fleet. Surrender now, or face complete destruction." Laura smiled and pressed a button on her console. Instead of responding with words, Earth broadcast a simple image, a white dot bouncing between 2 lines. The Pong game signal made the aliens' quantum communications flicker and crash. "Begin Operation Checkmate," she ordered. Across Earth's orbit, hundreds of ships powered up their weapons, a strange mix of alien technology and modified household items. Dr. Patterson's video game viruses were loaded into makeshift transmitters. Lieutenant Murphy's microwave arrays hummed to life. Captain Wright's fleet moved into position, looking like a swarm of space junk. The Council fleet advanced, their quantum shields glowing. But this time, Earth struck first. From the planet's surface, Peter Kelly activated his network of modified radio towers. The simple electromagnetic waves created a web that the alien sensors couldn't understand. "Their quantum scanners are blind," Anna reported from her communication station. "They can't process the basic radio signals." Moving to Phase 2, Dr. Patterson launched her final virus, a combination of Pong, Pac-Man, and Space Invaders code. The simple programs flooded the Council's neural networks. Alien crews, connected to their ships through advanced interfaces, found themselves trapped in endless games of vintage Earth entertainment. "This is impossible." Zextal's voice crackled through the interference. "How can such primitive code defeat our quantum computers?" Lieutenant Murphy's team activated their secret weapon. Thousands of modified garbage disposal units launched into space. The simple machines created a chaotic field of spinning metal and magnetic interference that the Council's targeting systems couldn't handle. "Their ships are losing formation," Captain Wright reported. "They can't coordinate through all this primitive interference." Commander Chen watched as the Council's mighty armada fell into disarray. Their advanced ships, unable to handle the flood of simple data and basic energy patterns, began to drift apart. Some vessels shut down completely as their quantum systems crashed. "Launch the kitchen brigade," she ordered. Earth's defenders had saved their best innovation for last. Hundreds of modified kitchen appliances, from microwaves to blenders, had been combined into makeshift energy weapons. They fired bursts of simple radiation that the Council's over-engineered shields couldn't block. "This defies all logic," alien commanders shouted across their failing communications. "How can they defeat quantum technology with cooking devices?" The battle turned into chaos as Earth's simple solutions overwhelmed the Council's advanced systems. Alien ships found themselves trapped in bubbles of disrupted spacetime, created by washing machine motors. Their quantum computers crashed while trying to process Anna's Morse code messages. In his flagship, High Commander Zextal watched in horror as his fleet fell apart. "Stop. Ceasefire," he finally ordered. We request negotiation." Commander Chen's response was to send another Pong signal, this time with a simple message encoded in its pattern: "Ready to talk." The Council's remaining ships powered down their weapons. For the first time in their history, they had been defeated, not by superior technology, but by solutions so simple they had forgotten they could exist. In the days that followed, the galaxy changed. The Council was forced to recognize Earth as an equal member, not because of advanced technology, but because of innovation. Other species, long dominated by the Council's technological superiority, began to rediscover their own simple solutions. The galaxy needed this reminder. Commander Chen told her staff during the victory celebration. "Sometimes the best way forward is to look back at what works, not just what's new." Dr. Patterson's video game viruses became standard defense systems across Earth's fleet. Lieutenant Murphy's modified appliances were studied by scientists from 100 worlds. Captain Wright's junkyard ships proved that appearance meant nothing compared to effectiveness. The Council chambers, once filled with displays of advanced technology, now included a museum of Earth's innovations. A microwave-turned weapon sat next to quantum computers. A modified garbage disposal unit was displayed alongside faster-than-light drives. "We learned a valuable lesson," Zextal admitted during the peace ceremony. "True advancement isn't about abandoning the past, but building upon it." Earth's position in the galaxy was unique. While other worlds sought the most advanced technology, Earth became known as the place where innovation meant something different. Humans became teachers, showing the galaxy that sometimes the simplest solution was the best solution. Commander Chen stood in the new Earth Embassy on the Council homeworld, looking at a display case. Inside was the first microwave that Dr. Bennett had modified into a weapon. Next to it sat an old television antenna that had helped defeat the most advanced fleet in the galaxy. "Future generations need to remember," she told a group of alien visitors, "that innovation isn't about having the best technology. It's about using what you have in the most creative way possible." The war had changed the galaxy's understanding of advancement. The Council learned that progress wasn't always about making things more complex. Sometimes it meant remembering the simple things that worked. Anna Martinez kept her old Morse code key on her desk, even as she worked with quantum communications. Peter Kelly refused to update his radio tower network with more advanced technology. Dr. Patterson continued to use classic video games to test new defense systems. Earth had taught the galaxy a lesson it would never forget. True innovation meant understanding all levels of technology, from the simplest to the most advanced. The future belonged not to those with the most sophisticated tools, but to those who could use any tool creatively. And somewhere in space, A council ship captain stared in confusion at his quantum scanner, trying to understand why it couldn't detect an approaching Earth vessel. The ship, held together with modified household appliances and broadcasting old video game music, slipped past unnoticed, proving once again that sometimes the best technology is the technology they don't expect you to use.